watching Fox 24 News AM Live in HD.
Well, happy Friday morning. If you're just tuning in to Fox 24 News AM Live. Now, recently I had the chance to sit down with a veteran who found himself between a rock and a hard place after returning home from combat and suffering from PTSD. Well, now a few rocks are the reason for his recovery. Raymond Boswell retired as a Master Sergeant from the National Guard last year after more than 20 years of service. But his fascination with gems began back in 2011.
Rubies, emeralds, sapphires, things like that. And I wanted to know more about them, how they were formed, how you cut them, how you make them sparkle. But
years prior, he was just a kid.
I started out as a buck-naked private. I mean, just no stripes, but nothing.
After leaving the Army, then re-enlisting, he quickly went from a peacekeeping mission in Kosovo to violence.
A year and a half after that, I got deployed to Iraq, and I'll tell you, I didn't leave anything over there that I want to go back for.
When Boswell returned home, he was diagnosed with PTSD. Through the trauma and more deployments after that, he found the hand-eye coordination he learned for combat could be used in cabochon making.
Everybody told me, said, you need to get involved in this Midland Gem and Mineral Society.
So he did, eventually becoming a member. But even with the hobby, adjusting to civilian life has taken years.
My bosses, the managers that I work with, started saying, hey man, something happened to you or whatever. And my family was not talking, having much to do with me. Wife and I constantly fighting.
And he's not alone.
I knew something wasn't right, that I was different, but I didn't know what it was. I always thought it was the rest of the world. But just this past year, I realized it was me.
Fellow gem enthusiast and Gulf War veteran Jim Jellyman had his own hardships.
You put on that smile and people think that everything's okay, but you become quite the actor.
The acting wore off one day at work.
A young kid come in and slammed a 10-pound sledgehammer on a 4-bay sheet of steel plate on a table, and it just rattled me. And I asked him, was it necessary? And he said yes. And I told myself, James, just walk away. Well, he did it again. And when he did it again, I don't remember much after that.
His reaction cost him his job. After receiving treatment, he's getting ready to start a new job while participating in his hobby during free time.
I love it. I will put my headphones on and the world just disappears. There's nothing there but me and the equipment and the rocks and whatever comes out.
Although Boswell and Jellyman were in different military branches, they've both been able to connect over a few rocks.
And to turn it into something that you've made, you've poured yourself into, and to give it to someone who means something to you, that's truly special.
Well, both former service members are now advocates for veterans struggling with PTSD. The Midland Mineral and Gem Society even offers discounted memberships to those who have suffered and need to create an outlet to cope with their trauma. Well, news is necessary, but there's always stories out there that can make you feel good. If you have a story you think should be featured on this segment, email me at cfinney@kmid.tv and you could see it on air.